Tell me if this has happened to you. You want to put synth parts and really cool electronic drum stuff for like an intro, but you also want to add those same elements to your song, and you spend all this time adding all of these elements in, and then this happens. It's like all the excitement went away. You were leading up to this amazing climactic intro, and it's going to be huge and awesome. And then something like that happens. Well, let me give you a few tips to actually make that impact as big as you want it. The first thing is the balance between all of these instruments. This was actually a really big topic on my one-on-ones. I have someone that wants me to check out their mix, and they have this really cool electronic part, but as soon as it comes in, all the excitement is gone that they were trying to achieve. And a lot of the times, it is because the synths are too loud. The volume is way too loud compared to when the band comes in, like your actual instruments. And so the first thing that I recommend is turning everything down. If you have a good balance with your intro idea, whatever it may be, even if it's just not drums, if it's just synths and stuff, if you have a good balance, what I would recommend that you do is you group all of those things together and you turn them down. And so you can see here, I have all of my stuff grouped. This is all of the synth stuff and like electronic drum stuff. And I have it grouped in my synths and effects. And so the balance between my electronic section is good. Like the instruments and the pads and stuff like that, they're all good. And I actually have a utility on there. And so that's just like some sort of gain plugin. Your DAW should have it too. I actually boosted it plus 11 just for this example. And so if I bring this back down to 0 and we take a listen, you can hear it immediately just sounded a lot bigger when everything came in and everything worked out the way that it should have, which is nice. Next, I think it's important to automate certain parts. For this particular part, I have 3 things automating up and down. So the first thing that I have automating volume-wise is this ARP here. And so you can see it comes up in volume because that's when it hits. And with all of these things being lower in volume, again, for it being an intro, this needs to blend into when the band comes in. This next one down here is actually a reinforced version of the other ARP. And so this comes up just a few dB. And again, it is just to reinforce that other ARP in there. The next thing is my soundscape. And so this is my soundscape here, and I have it automated here going down. You could see it kind of just has this little bend going down to 0. The reason why is this continues on because it has such a long reverb and delay and stuff like that. And so I'll give you an example of what that sounds like. For me, I felt like this helped out when I added this little dip here to help make that part sound a lot more empty. The last thing I want to talk about is the balance between all of your electronic elements during your intro. I think it's good to get into a practice of really critically listening to a part to hear what sound stands out more than other sounds in this part. Now, some sounds you may want to be louder than others, but there is sometimes where you don't realize that it is actually as loud as it is. You're going to put it in your car or in some sort of different speaker, and that sound that you might have overlooked is going to be peaking super loud. And so what I would say is reference someone else who is doing the same thing, one of your favorite bands or anything like that, to see where their stuff is set at. I think that it's also important to recognize if there's too much bass or not enough bass. And I think that just is the practice of having too much bass and hearing it in these other speakers that you usually listen to music on, and compare it to the references that you have, because you have reference tracks, right? And if you don't, that's something that I'd highly recommend. And so make sure that everything is balanced and then group everything together. Then when you want your part to come in and you want to add more impact, there's many ways to go about doing that. You can start to remove pieces like I did here. You could see that I started to remove some parts. Another thing to do is automate parts. So if some of your synths have cutoffs or anything like that, one of my favorite ways to transition into a bigger part is actually Transit from Baby Audio. Great plugin. That's really it for this one. I think, again, it's super important to keep in mind the balance of your synths together, but also the balance of your synths compared to when your band comes in. But make sure that you like and subscribe. That really helps out the channel. Also, I stream Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Saturdays, and I also do one-on-ones. And so come and hang out on the stream or come hang out with me one-on-one. I would love to help you out. But all right, homie, I'll see you next time. And remember, do not overthink your songwriting.